today we continue our first chapter, which is the structure
Mama,
of
mama, mama.
in which con- we okay students, we continue our first chapter, which is the structure of living organisms. In last class, we study about the structure of plants, in which we study about the vegetative parts and reproductive parts. And today we continue our chapter and we start our topic, the structure of animals. So before starting lecture, there are some instructions which you should follow. Keep your book, copy and pen along with you and note down all the important terms and definitions related to the topics. Kindly follow the teacher's advice. Take a screenshot of the slide as it helps you in understanding your lecture and in completion of home task. And if you have any question, kindly use chat box at the end of the class. So student, now we start our next topic, which is the structure of animals. All the living things have some specific structure and a body. Similarly, animals also have some structure and a body. So the body of animal is divided into two parts, which is the head and trunk. Okay, the body of animal is divided into two regions or parts, which are head and trunk. So what is the head? Head is present on the upper anterior part. Head is present on the upper anterior part, which contain mouth, sensory organs, and also brain. Brain controls all the functions of the human body as well as the sensory organs. And what are the sensory organs? Sensory organs detect the changes in surrounding and they react or perform their function according to them. Okay, students, I'm sure it's clear, and we all know very well that, and we learned in our previous classes so many times that there are five senses are present in our body, which are sense of taste, sense of smell, touch, taste, smell, hearing. Okay, students. So, head contains three parts: the mouth, brain, and sensory organs. Now, the second part is the trunk. What is the trunk? Trunk is present on the lower posterior part, which contains all the organs and system. We all know that all the organs and system are present in our trunk part. So the in trunk they present on the lower and posterior part of the body, which contain all the organs and systems. All these organs and systems are made up of soft tissues and are very sensitive. Okay. Trunk also have limbs which helps in movement. What are the limbs? Limbs are actually called legs. The legs are limbs. In animals, there are four limbs are present. Okay. So in animals, there are four limbs are present, which are the two legs which are present on the front side are called forelimbs. Fore, four limbs, and the two which are present on the back side are called hind limbs. I'm sure it's clear to you students that the trunk contains all the soft tissues, organs and systems, and it present on the lower and posterior part of the body, and it also have the limbs which helps in movement. So all the soft tissues and organs require some substance which not only protect them and also support them and give a specific shape to the body, and that substance is called skeleton. Okay students, so what is the skeleton? It is actually a framework. What is the skeleton? Skeleton is actually a framework that provide structure to the rest of the body, support the body, protect the soft tissues, and facilitate movement, and that framework is called skeleton. And skeleton is made up of hard material. Okay, so there are three types of skeletons are present in animals. which are hydrostatic skeleton, exoskeleton, and endoskeleton. I am repeating again, student. The skeleton is made up of hard material which not only support the body and give shape to the body and cover and protect the internal soft tissues and organs of the body. And that substance is called skeleton. And there are three types of skeleton are present in human body, in animals, which are hydrostatic skeleton, exoskeleton, and endoskeleton. Now we first know about the hydrostatic skeleton. As the word shows, the hydro means water. So it means that the skeleton in hydrostatic skeleton is present in the form of water or a liquid. Okay, hydro means water, in which the skeleton is present in the form of water or a liquid which is present inside of the body of animals. And the examples of a hydrostatic skeleton are earthworm and caterpillars. And these are very common example of our environment, and we all observe and see the earthworm and caterpillars as they are present mostly in plants, in gardens, etc. So we easily observe and imagine the body structure of these caterpillar and earthworm. So in hydrostatic skeleton, there is a liquid is present inside of the body, and it present mostly in the soft bodied animal. Some aquatic animals also have the hydrostatic skeleton, like jellyfish also have the hydrostatic skeleton. So what happened in hydrostatic skeleton? There is a fluid which is filled with a pressure filled fluid. Okay, so the liquid present inside of the body is a pressure filled fluid which not only give specific shape to the body of earthworm and caterpillars but also helps in locomotion. What is the locomotion? Locomotion means movement or movement of body from one place to another. So in hydrostatic skeleton, the movement is take place is or is provided by a wave of muscular contraction. We all know that the body structure of earthworm and caterpillars are cylindrical in shape. So the muscles of inside of the body are mostly circular in shape or cylindrical in shape. So in the movement in hydrostatic skeleton is provided by a wave of muscular contraction and a pressure-filled fluid. This helps in maintaining the body shape and also helps in locomotion, means ability to move from one point to another. I'm sure you all clear or understand this hydrostatic skeleton. Now we come to the second type, which is the exoskeleton. As the word exo means outer. Okay, so exo means outer, which means that the skeleton which is present outside of the body. And this type of skeleton is mostly present in invertebrates. So exoskeleton found in most of the invertebrates. What are invertebrates? Invertebrates are those animals which do not have backbone. Okay, students. So exoskeleton present in invertebrates, and the example of invertebrates are mostly the insects or like the ant, cockroaches, caterpillars, cockroaches and grasshoppers, etc. अब आप लोगों को मेरी आवाज़ क्लियर आ रही है? आई एम ट्राइंग टू speak slightly louder. Okay, the exoskeleton is found in invertebrates, and the body of insect are covered by a tough skin or a cuticle. What happened in exoskeleton? The body is covered by a tough skin or a membrane which is called cuticle, and this cuticle is made up of hollow tubes and plates, and this is also of waterproof material. I am repeating again, student, that the body of insects and The body of exoskeleton is animals are covered by a tough skin or a membrane which is called cuticle, and this cuticle is made up of waterproof material which is called chitin. I'm repeating again, chitin. A chitin is composed of or made up of plates and hollow tubes. So chitin is made up of plates and hollow tubes which not only protect the body of the insect, support the animals and give shape to the body. So the main function of the skeleton is to support the body, protect the internal organ, and also helps in locomotion and movement. So in exoskeleton, animals' movement is brought about by muscles, which means of that the movement in the insects and exoskeleton animal or invertebrates are take place by muscles which are attached with the inside of the exoskeleton. So chitin is not a living cell, which means that not grow with the size or the size of the body or the age of the animal. So it becomes shaded. So the chitin is shaded and it replaced by a new chitin, and this process is called molting. What is the molting, student? Molting is actually a process by which the old cuticle or a chitin is replaced by a new one, and this process is called molting. Actually, the chitin is of different colors also, which because of that, it helps in insect to save themselves from the predators and also attract their mates. Okay, this is the all the important features of the exoskeleton. Now we comes to the endoskeleton. Now we comes to the endoskeleton. Endo means inside. The exo means outer, endo means inside. Okay, so the endoskeleton are present mostly in vertebrates animals. Okay, students, the exoskeleton, as I have said, that present in invertebrate and endoskeleton present in vertebrates animal. And what are the vertebrates animal? Vertebrates animals are those which have backbone. Okay, students, what is the backbone? The bone which is present in our vertebral column on this main axis or the center of our body, that is called the backbone, and which mainly support the whole our body. So the vertebrates are supported by a hard internal skeleton called endoskeleton. So in endoskeleton, there is a hard skeleton is present inside of the body, which is called skeleton. In the endoskeleton, the skeleton of endoskeleton are made up of bones, and these bones are of different shapes and sizes. Okay, students, what are the bones? Bones are actually the skeleton is made up of bones of different sizes and shapes. And the bones and the skeleton, the size of the skeleton grows with the body of animals. As when the animals are small in size, the skeleton also is small. But when the body grows or the age of the animal increases, or the length and the size of the skeleton also increases. So similarly, as all the skeleton, that the endoskeleton not only support and protect the internal organ, it also gives shapes and helps in movement. Okay, students, I'm sure you all understand all these three types of the skeleton very well. The first one is hydrostatic skeleton, the second is exoskeleton, and third is endoskeleton. Now move forward. As I have said, in endoskeleton, the skeleton is made up of bones. So what are the bones? I'm sure you all know bones, that the whole structure of our skeleton, and the also in animals the skeleton is made up of bones. Bones are actually living cells. What are the bones? Bones are made up of living cells as they grow by the age and the size of the body, and are made up of mineral substances. I'm repeating again that the bones are made up of mineral substances like such as calcium carbonates, potassium, phosphates, magnesium. So all these mineral salts and substances make the bones. And all these salts and the mineral salts and substances present in milk. The main source of calcium and phosphate and potassium is milk, and we all know very well that the milk is very important for our health and diet, and with it milk is make our bones stronger. So I'm sure nobody of you know drink milk, and your mothers ask you to drink milk but you refuses. But remember that the milk makes your bones stronger, and your body also becomes strong. Okay, students, so you should take milk, one glass of milk daily. Now it comes to our lecture. So bones are made up of living cells and mineral salts, substances like calcium carbonates, phosphates, and magnesium. So bones can bear weight and absorb pressure, which means that our whole body is uh, जो है हमारी जो होल बॉडी है वो हमारी बोन्स के ऊपर डिपेंड करती है. ओके, सो दैट मीन्स दैट द हाउ दे बेयर वेट, our whole body is supported by these bones. Bones are lighter in weight. They are not heavy as they are hard substances, but not means of that they are hard or heavy in weight. They are light and rigid, but not brittle. So which means that they are lighter in weight, it's and but not brittle means not easily breakable. लाइट इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि अगर इट्स ये लाइट वेट है तो बहुत इजीली ब्रेक हो जाएगी, नहीं. बट इट्स लाइटर वेट बट इट्स स्ट्रॉन्ग. दैट्स बिकॉज ऑफ द मिनरल्स and the substances which makes these bones strong. Okay, there are 206 bones are present inside of our body. Yes, there are 206 bones are present in human body, and the longest bone of our body is thigh bone, which is known as femur. I am repeating again, student. The longest bone of our body is thigh bone, and inside of the thigh bone, and that thigh bone is called as or known as femur, which you have learned in your next classes when you comes in 9 and 10. Then you learn about the study in detail about that the names of the bones. So inside the long bone, there is a soft yellowish substance is present. Soft color, soft yellowish substance is present, which is known as bone marrow. That bone marrow is producing and responsible for manufacturing red and white blood cells. Okay, as much our bones are strong, our body is also strong. Okay, students. So the long bone have bone marrow in it, and that bone marrow is responsible for producing red and white blood cells. Now we comes to the now we come to the next topic, which is the human skeleton. Previously, we have learned the structure of plants, structure of animals. Now we study about the human skeleton. The human skeleton is divided into two parts. This is the structure of human skeleton. The human skeleton is divided into two parts, the axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton. So, what is the axial skeleton? Axial means the word axial is comes from the word axis, which means the center, okay, or the main axis. So, the axial skeleton include those bones which are present in the main axis of the body, main axis or the center of the body. Okay, students. So the axial skeleton includes the bones which are present in the center of the body, and those include the skull. This is the skull, Vertebral column, the backbone. Okay, vertebral. What is the vertebral column? The backbone, skull, and the rib cage. This is the rib cage, student. So all these three bones are comes under the axial skeleton. Now the appendicular skeleton. The word appendicular means extension and prolongation. So the appendicular skeleton are those which attach to the axial skeleton. What is the appendicular skeleton? Appendicular skeleton includes are those which attach with the axial skeleton, and those bones include the shoulder blade, bones of the hands, bones of the legs, and the hip bone. Okay, I'm sure it's very clear to you that the axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton. Axial skeleton include the bones of skull, bones of rib cage, vertebral column, and appendicular skeleton includes shoulder blades, hands, bones of hands, arms, legs. All these come under the appendicular skeleton. So now move forward, and the next topic is joints. Do you know that the how our whole structure of our skeleton is made up of, and how they form a complete skeleton? It's that all the bones comes and joint with each other. Okay, all the, as I have said in the that there are so many bones are present of different sizes and shapes. So all these bones are comes to join with each other and form a specific structure of the skeleton. So the place where the two bones meet is called joint. What is the joint? Joint is the point or the place where the two bones meet together or join together is called joint. So joint is enclosed in a tough capsule or in a tough membrane, which is called capsule actually. So what is the joint? Joint is the point or the place where the two bones are meet together is called joint, and joint is enclosed in a tough membrane which is called capsules. So how the bones are attached with each other? So bones are attached to each other by a tough fiber or a elastic fiber. Elastic means just like a rubber band, easily movable and stretchable. So bones are attached to each other by a tough elastic fiber which are called ligaments. What are the ligaments? Through ligaments, the two bones are attached with each other by a elastic fiber, and the ligaments are of elastic in nature. Okay, students. Now the next thing is cartilage. Cartilage is also present at the end of the bones. What is the cartilage? It is present at the end of the bones where the two bones are joined together to form a joint. There is a cartilage is present which is a soft bone in nature, which is soft bone and covers the end of the bones. Our ears are made up of cartilage. If you touch your ear, it can easily bendable. Okay, you touch your ear, all of you touch your ears and slightly bend your ear. You feel that we can easily bend or twist the ear. So that type of bone is called actually the cartilage, the soft bone, and it is present at the end of the bones. There is some fluid is also present in the spaces which is called synovial fluid. And this synovial fluid is present between the two bones and they prevent friction between each other. It acts as a lubricant and a shock absorber or as a act as a cushion, so which protect the bones to rub against each other and they reduce friction between the bones. Okay, students, sometimes what happens that the level of synovial fluids become decreased, and this happen mostly in old ages. uh, Mostly of our nani dadis are complaining of pain in joints, pain in legs and hands. That is because this synovial fluid, the level of synovial fluid becomes decreased in old age, and that cause a severe pain because because of low level of synovial fluid. The bones are rubbed with each other and they cause friction. So that cause severe pain of that, and a severe disease is also caused, which are called arthritis, etc. So there is one more substance or thing is present which are called muscles. What are the muscles? Muscles are actually a group of elastic tissues. What are the muscles? Muscles are the group of elastic tissue which contract or relax. And this contraction of muscles helps limbs to move. With the help of the contraction of muscles, we are able to move our body. Okay, students? And the muscles are attached with bones by a non-elastic fiber which is called tendons. Okay, students, what are the tendons? Tendons are actually a non-elastic fiber which attach the muscles with the bones. There is much difference between the tendons and ligaments. Okay, student, and most of the students get confused between them. What are the ligaments and what are the tendons? So here there are much difference between the tendons and ligaments. What are the ligaments? Ligaments are also a tough fiber which is are elastic in nature, and they connect or attach the two bones with each other. But the tendons attach muscles to the bones and they are non-elastic fiber. I'm sure we all understand all these terms very well, and your concept also becomes clear. So now we comes to the types of joints. There are five types of joints are present. The number one, ball and socket joint, hinge joint, sliding joints, fixed joint, and pivot joints. So I'm repeating again, student, that there are five types of joints are present: ball and socket joint, hinge joint, sliding joint, fixed joint, and pivot joint. What is the ball and socket joint? The ball and socket joint is present at the shoulders and hip joints. In which what happened in ball and socket joint? This is the picture of ball and socket joint, in which the one end of the bone is slightly round in shape and in the structure of ball. So at the other end of the bone is slightly hollow and curved or depressed inside. It's just make a curve. Okay, so that's why it's called, this joint is called ball and socket joint, in which this ball side or the rounded area of the bone fixes into the socket area or socket joint of the other bone. Here your concept makes more clear that this is the ball bones. This is the end of the bone is just like a ball, and the other end of the bone is slightly curved or hollow in shape. So that's why it's called ball and socket joint, and the bones are attached with each other just like a socket. Now the second one is hinge joint. This type of joints are present at elbow and knee joints. Okay, student, what is the hinge joint? The, these type of joints are present in elbow and knee joint. Here's the example of the hinge joint, in which you uh, see that the this is the elbow joint. Okay, so what happened in hinge joint? There is only a one direction is take place, which means only extension or flexion is take place in hinge joint. What is the extension and flexion? In which the only you can all move your hand at the at the elbow, that you only move your hand upside and downside. So that movement is called hinge. That movement is called extension and flexion. and that joint is called hinge joint. What is the hinge? You all know that the hinge is the present in doors, the when the door is attached with the frame of it, the thing which attach the door and the frame is called hinge. So that joint is called hinge joint and is present at elbow and knee joint. Now the third one is sliding joint. It is present at the wrist and ankle. Sliding joint also known as gliding joint. So in which the joints are slide over one another. Here I show you these ball and socket joint and hinge joint as these two are examples are present in our books. That's why we are focusing in these two joints. Now the fourth one is fixed joint. Fixed joint is present on the bone of a skull, in which the joint are unable to move or it fixes. As our skull, what is the skull? The main head of the body is called skull. It fixes at its points actually, but you can't move the skull. But the actually the bone which move or our is the joint which move actually is actually the first two vertebrae of the backbone, which are actually the neck. The joints of our neck are called pivot joint. Fifth joint is called pivot joint, and it's present at the first two vertebrae of the backbone, which is actually the neck portion of our body. So here are the five types of joints: ball and socket joint, hinge joint, sliding joint, fixed joint, and pivot joint. So students, here's our first chapter is completing here, in which we study about the structure of plants, structure of animals, in which and today we study about the skeleton, bones, joints. Okay, and I'm sure you all understand all these topics and terms very well. Now we comes to the our home task. But before starting the sharing our home task, there are a few instructions we should follow. I am sure you make your front page or the face sheet, completed your face sheet. Now, before starting any chapter, you make the title page of the unit and a chapter and draw the margin line on both sides of 1 inch. Now, this is the home task, today's home task. So, the question number one is draw a mind map on types of joints with examples. So, what is the question number one? Draw a mind map on types of joints with example. Here is the types of joints. You can write these types in the form of mind map with their examples. You should take the screenshot of this slide also. I'm sure you should take the screenshot. Now we come to the second question, which is the describe the mammalian skeleton or the human skeleton. I said describe the human skeleton in two paragraphs. Here is the human skeleton, or you can also say that the mammalian skeleton. The You should also take the screenshot of this slide. Okay, students, I answer to your questions in just a few minutes. First, I complete my home task, then I answer to your questions. Okay, students, just wait for a while. So this is the answer of the second question, in which the answer of this question you can also get in your book. So you can write the proper answer from your book. You should also take the screenshot of this slide. Now the third question is draw the diagrams of the following with 5 labels each. आपको क्या करना है? डायग्राम बनाना है किसकी? बॉल एंड सॉकेट जॉइंट एंड हिंज जॉइंट. These two diagrams are present in your book at the end of the chapter, on the last pages of the chapter. So you can draw these two diagrams and make sure you should label 5 labels. Okay, so draw the diagram of ball and socket joint and hinge joint, and you can also complete the exercises given in book, which are on page number 10 and 11. So you should take a screenshot of the home task, and I'm also share the home task of the day one or the previous class. So there I'm also sharing the home task. This is the day one or the last class home task. You should also take the screenshot of this, in which these questions are related to the structure of plant, in which what are the questions we should write down in our copies are: question number one, draw a mind map on function of stems and describe the types of root with examples. The types of root, as I have told you, that the three types of root: tap root, adventitious root, fibrous root. Okay, and the mind map on function of stem, I just share with you the all the function of stem in the flow chart. And it also define the terms nectar, nectaries, receptacles, inflorescence. All these definition you can get from the book. And also complete the given mind map. This is the mind map. You can make it by yourself and also complete this. So fastly take the screenshot of all of both the home task, students. This is today's home task. हाँ हाँ, आप अपने आप को अनम्यूट करें। Amna Nasir, you are from, I think, girls' schools, or you are taking class from in Prince Ali Boys. Okay, what you have question? Unmute yourself and then ask your question. And Ruhel, also you unmute yourself and ask the question. आप अटेंडेंस के लिए परेशान नहीं हो, आप लोगों के नेम जो है वो हमने देख लिए हैं, तो इस तरह आप लोगों की अटेंडेंस हो जाएगी। इट्स क्लियर योर, अब मेरी आवाज़ क्लियर है? आई एम श्योर यू आर गेटिंग माय वॉइस, स्टूडेंट्स। क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 का आंसर एक बार फिर से बताते हैं। विच क्वेश्चन, टुडेज लेक्चर और दी previous class? This one, they describe the mammalian skeleton in 2 paragraphs, in which the, okay, I'm sharing with you the mammalian skeleton, or you can say the human skeleton for your आप लोगों की आसानी के लिए मैंने ह्यूमन स्केलेटन लिख दिया था। ओके, ह्यूमन स्केलेटन और मेमेलियन स्केलेटन आर द सेम। Okay, so you should take the screenshot, and these two topics you can get from book in details. आप लोग वेट करें यूट्यूब पे, आप लोग क्लासेस तो अटेंड करें, यूट्यूब पे भी इंशाल्लाह ताला आप लोगों को मिल जाएगी, डोंट वरी। ओके स्टूडेंट्स, चलो ओके स्टूडेंट्स, अल्लाह हाफिज़ एंड